My name is Elisa, and I've spent 8 years teaching 4-year-olds how to share crayons and tie their shoes. So, when are you finally giving up on that apartment and buying a real place? My brother-in-law Garrett leaned back in my sister Maya's dining chair, like he owned the world. Oh wait, I forgot. Kindergarten teachers can't actually afford houses. Maya shot him a look across the table. Garrett, come on. What? I'm being realistic. He gestured with his wine glass. Maya and I closed on our second rental property last month. Meanwhile, Elisa's still in that same one bedroom she's had since college. I'm just saying, there's a reason successful people don't go into teaching. I set down my fork slowly. I'm perfectly comfortable where I am. Comfortable, Garrett laughed. That's what people say when they've given up. You know what the problem is? You think small. Teacher salary, teacher mindset, teacher life. Elisa works hard, Maya said quietly, but she didn't meet my eyes. Sure she does, and I respect that. But hard work at the wrong job still leaves you renting at 32. He turned to me. You ever actually talk to a bank about a mortgage? Because I'm telling you right now, they'd laugh you out of the building. My mother Helen reached for the salad bowl. Not everyone measures success the same way, Garrett. True, some people measure it in equity and investment returns. Others measure it in finger paint and participation trophies. He grinned like he'd made a clever joke. No offense, Elisa. None taken. I kept my voice level. See, that's the attitude that keeps you stuck. You're too polite, too passive. In my world, you fight for what you want. That's why Maya and I are building an empire, while you're still wondering if you can afford a vacation. Maya touched his arm. Honey, maybe we should change the subject. Why? I'm trying to help her. Someone needs to give her a reality check. He looked at me again. When was the last time you even checked your credit score? When was the last time you talked to a financial advisor instead of just depositing your little paycheck and hoping for the best? I smiled. Actually, I meet with my advisor quarterly. Your advisor? He made air quotes. Let me guess. Some guy at your bank who sells you a CD and calls it financial planning? Something like that. Exactly my point. You don't even know the difference between real wealth management and basic banking. Maya grew up the same as you, but she married someone who understands money. That's why we're thriving. Helen stood up. I think I'll start clearing plates. Mom, sit down. I'm almost done. Garrett pointed at me with his knife. All I'm saying is, don't waste your 30s hoping things will magically improve. They won't. You make $48,000 a year. The median home price in this area is $470,000. Do the math. I have. And I'm still looking at houses. He genuinely laughed at that. Looking, sure. Everyone can look. Hell, I look at Ferraris online. Doesn't mean I'm buying one tomorrow. Maybe I have more saved than you think. Elisa, I've been in finance for 12 years. I know exactly how much you'd need for a down payment, and I know exactly how impossible that is on your salary. Even if you'd been saving every penny since graduation, which we both know you haven't, you'd still be years away from anything decent. Maya squeezed his hand. Can we please just enjoy dinner? We are enjoying dinner. I'm enjoying teaching your sister something useful for once. He topped off his wine. Look, when you finally accept reality and want actual advice about building wealth, I'm happy to help. But first, you need to stop pretending you're in the same league as people who actually understand investment. I met his eyes. I'll keep that in mind. 3 weeks later, Maya called while I was grading art projects. Elisa, I need to apologize for Garrett. He gets intense about money sometimes. It's fine. It's not fine. He was condescending. She paused. But have you thought about maybe looking into a condo? Something you could actually afford? I set down my red pen. Why are you calling, Maya? I just worry about you. Garrett showed me the numbers, and even with a teacher's pension, your retirement won't be... Garrett doesn't know my numbers. He knows the salary schedules. He knows the market. Elisa, he's trying to help you see reality before it's too late. Tell him thanks for the concern. After we hung up, I texted Vincent Castellano, my bank manager. Coffee this week? Need to discuss next steps. He responding in minutes. Thursday, 10 a.m. Bring your updated portfolio. Thursday morning, I met Vincent at the cafe near his branch. He'd been handling my account since my grandmother died 6 years ago and left me $230,000 that no one in my family knew about. How's the fund looking? I spread out my quarterly statements. Vincent smiled. Up 18% year over year. Combined with your investment growth, you're sitting at just over $400,000 liquid, plus the $73,000 in your retirement accounts. I leaned back. So if I wanted to make an offer on a house in the $450 to $500 range, you'd be approved within days. 20% down, excellent credit, stable employment. He pulled up something on his tablet. Actually, funny you mention this. Your brother-in-law came in last week trying to refinance one of his rental properties. Garrett? I didn't realize the connection until I saw Maya's name as co-signer. His application was denied. He's overextended on both properties, barely making the payments. His credit score has dropped 40 points in 6 months. But he acts like he's thriving. I know the type. Leverage to the eyeballs, 1 bad month away from foreclosure. He closed his tablet. When you're ready to start house hunting, I'll have your pre-approval letter ready in an hour. 2 days later, Maya invited me to lunch. I wanted to show you something exciting. She pulled out her phone. Garrett found another investment property, a duplex in Riverside. We're putting in an offer next week. Can you afford that? Her smile tightened. Of course we can afford it. This is how you build generational wealth, Elisa. You wouldn't understand because you're not thinking big enough. Our mother joined us 15 minutes late. Maya immediately started showing Helen the duplex photos. Isn't it gorgeous? Garrett says we can rent both units for $2,800 each. Helen looked uncomfortable. That sounds like a lot to manage. This is an investment, Mom. Something Elisa should be thinking about, instead of wasting her income on rent. I sipped my water. Actually, I've been looking at houses. Maya laughed. Looking isn't buying. Have you even talked to a bank? Because Garrett says first-time buyers get denied left and right. Helen touched my hand. Sweetheart, maybe start with something smaller. I don't want a condo. But realistically, Maya started. Realistically, I'm in a better position than you think. Elisa, I just don't want you to be disappointed when the bank says no. The foreclosure notice appeared in the public records 6 weeks later. Helen called me. Maya's rental property is being foreclosed on. The bank posted the notice yesterday. I drove to their house that evening. Maya answered with swollen eyes. Did Mom tell you? Garrett appeared behind her. The tenant stopped paying. We had a temporary cash flow issue. Nothing we can't recover from. Garrett, they're taking the house. Maya's voice cracked. They're taking one property. We still have the other rental and our home. I stepped inside. How behind were you on payments? That's not your concern. Garrett crossed his arms. 4 months. Maya sank onto the couch. And the second property is 2 months behind. Garrett kept saying he'd figure it out. I am figuring it out. I'm refinancing. They already denied your refinance. Vincent told you no. Garrett's face darkened. I'm talking to other lenders. With what credit score? Maya looked at me. He maxed out 3 credit cards trying to cover the mortgages. Our score is 620. Maya, stop sharing our private information. Maybe someone should have told me the truth before we bought that duplex. We haven't bought it because they denied our loan. Because we're broke, Garrett. He grabbed his keys. I'm not listening to this. After he left, Maya collapsed. He promised me this would work. I trusted him, and now we're losing everything. I defended him to you. I believed every word about building wealth, and the whole time we were falling apart. Did you know about the missed payments? I asked. Not until the foreclosure notice. He handled all the finances. I saw the bank statements when I finally looked. We have $400 in savings. Our mortgage payment is $3,200. Helen held her hand. What about his income? It all goes to debt payments. The car payments, the credit cards, the mortgages. I sat next to her. What are you going to do? I don't know. He won't admit we need to sell the second rental. The foreclosure is happening in 45 days. The next day, Garrett called me. I need to borrow money, $20,000, just to catch up the payments and stop the foreclosure. Garrett, I don't have $20,000 sitting around. Yes, you do. Maya said your grandmother left you something. My stomach dropped. Maya doesn't know about that. She does now. We're desperate. Family helps family. No. Just like that? I'm not funding your fantasy. You're underwater on properties you couldn't afford. It buys us time. For what? To dig deeper? His voice turned cold. You're selfish, sitting on money while your sister suffers? My sister is suffering because you lied to her. I'm trying to build something. You wouldn't understand because you've never taken a risk in your life. I'm taking one right now. You're drowning. Stop pretending you're swimming. He hung up. I found the house 3 weeks after Garrett's first property foreclosed. 4 bedrooms, renovated kitchen, quarter-acre yard in a neighborhood where Maya and I had grown up dreaming about living. Vincent processed my pre-approval in 90 minutes. You're offering $475? It's listed at $500. I think they'll negotiate. They will, especially with your financial profile. Cash reserves, perfect credit, quick closing. You're a seller's dream. The offer was accepted that evening. Maya called the next morning. Mom told me you're buying a house. I am. Silence stretched between us. Then, how? I've been saving, investing, preparing. With what money? You're a teacher. Teachers can be smart with money too. Don't. Her voice shook. Don't act like you're better than us. I'm not better than anyone. I just made different choices. You let me think you were struggling. You let Garrett humiliate you at dinner while you knew you could buy a house whenever you wanted. I didn't want to buy a house then. I wanted to wait for the right one. And now? Now when we're losing everything, you suddenly find the perfect place? That's cruel, Elisa. I didn't time this to hurt you. Didn't you? Didn't some part of you want to prove Garrett wrong? I thought about that. Maybe, but mostly I wanted a home. She hung up. The closing happened on a Thursday. Vincent met me at the title company with champagne he wasn't supposed to bring. Congratulations, you're officially a homeowner. Thank you. For everything. You did this. You took an inheritance and turned it into a future. Most people would have bought a car or taken a vacation. My grandmother taught me to think long-term. She taught you well. He gathered his papers. For what it's worth, your brother-in-law came back yesterday, wanted to reapply for refinancing. And? Same answer. He's lost 1 property to foreclosure. The second is 60 days behind now, and his credit is destroyed. No bank will touch him. What did he say? That I was making a mistake, that he'd remember this. Vincent shrugged. People like him always blame everyone except themselves. My mother helped me move in over the weekend. She didn't mention Maya or Garrett until we were unpacking kitchen boxes. Your sister is very hurt. I know. She thinks you were secretly judging her this whole time. I wasn't. I was protecting my own financial security. Garrett told people at their church that you refuse to help them, that you have money but won't share it with family. I stopped unpacking. He's telling people that? He's embarrassed. He's lashing out. The second property goes to foreclosure next month. They're trying to sell their primary residence before it's too late, but they owe more than it's worth. What about Maya's business? She closed it. She's working retail now to help cover bills. She's devastated. I didn't cause this. No, but she's your sister. She's drowning. And if I give them money, they'll drown 6 months later anyway. Garrett hasn't changed his thinking. He'd just use it to try another bad investment. Helen sighed. You're probably right, but it doesn't make this easier. The housewarming was small. Vincent came, a few teacher friends, my neighbor Diane who'd brought cookies the day I moved in. Maya and Garrett weren't invited. Garrett showed up anyway. He walked through my front door like he'd been announced. Nice place. Must have cost what, $450? $500? Garrett, you need to leave. I need to leave? This is family business. Your sister is my wife. We're family. You weren't invited. Because you knew I'd call you out. You knew I'd ask how a kindergarten teacher affords this. Vincent stood up. Garrett, I think… You! Garrett pointed at him. You approved her loan but denied mine. Interesting how that works. Your applications were completely different situations. Were they? Or did you just prefer helping someone who'd make you look good instead of someone who'd actually use the money to build wealth? I stepped between them. My loan was approved because I qualified. You didn't. That's not bias, that's math. Math, Garrett laughed bitterly. You think you're smarter than me because you bought one house with inherited money? I was building an empire. You were building debt. That's how investment works. You leverage capital to… You leveraged yourself into foreclosure. Twice. And now you're losing your own home. His face flushed. We're not losing our home. We're strategically downsizing. You're bankrupt. We're restructuring. There's a difference. Tell that to Maya. Tell that to her when she's working retail because your strategic investments destroyed her business. Don't you dare blame me for… For what? For lying about your finances? For maxing out credit cards? For buying properties you couldn't afford and then asking me to bail you out? I asked you to help family. You asked me to enable your fantasy, and I said no. I walked to the door. Get out of my house. Your house, bought with dead grandmother's money. Real impressive, Elisa. Out. He left. Maya was sitting in their car at the curb crying. She didn't look at me. Vincent touched my shoulder. You okay? Yeah. I watched them drive away. Yeah, I'm okay. Diane brought me a glass of wine. That was your brother-in-law? Unfortunately. He seemed angry. He's been angry since I existed. The only difference now is I stopped caring. Helen found me later on the back porch. Maya wants to apologize. For what? For Garrett showing up. For how he spoke to you. She's humiliated. She should be angry at him, not humiliated by him. She's both, but she won't leave him. She still thinks he'll fix everything. I looked at my new yard, my new life. That's her choice. Is it really a choice when you've invested everything into believing someone? The question sat between us while the sun set over my quarter-acre dream. I thought about Maya at 19, believing Garrett would take care of her. Maya at 25, defending his first investment. Maya now, working retail and watching her life collapse while he called it restructuring. I turned to my mother. When someone shows you they'll sacrifice you to protect their ego, when they'll drag you underwater rather than admit they can't swim, when they'll destroy your security to fund their image? Is staying really about investment? Or is it about being too afraid to admit you chose wrong?